Ladies, please mute yourself, and at the end of say 30 minutes, definitely put your questions in the chat window once Shachi is still taking the session. After 30 minutes, Shachi will end her session and will take up your queries. She will pick it up from the chat window and ask your queries and answer them. So till we give the instruction to unmute yourself and tell your queries, please do not unmute, otherwise it would be not audible in the session. Thank you ladies for your time. Shachi,
Yeah, Divya?
you can take over now.
Can you make the presenter, me the presenter? I have to share the screen.
Okay. Uh, ladies, just to introduce you the Shachi's background, she is a founder of recv.in company. She's into this field from past 8 years, and from past 2 years she is managing the content development along with the resume writing operations. And the brand for which she is working currently for the writing services 88 and recv, and she is catering to some of the clients which are abroad like UK, US and Australia, and she has worked some Indian clients like Shine and Wisdom Jobs. So you can just reach out to her blog, you can check her profile, check the blog and participate as much as you can. And please, as Smita said, mute yourself till Shachi is sharing her slides, and you can just pop up or drop your questions in the chat window so that she can answer each and every query to her maximum time bandwidth. Thanks a lot. Shachi, over to you now.
Yeah, thank you, Smita. A warm welcome to all of you. This is Shachi. So I have been writing for quite a long time, and now this is my company which I've started, which is called RECV, which deals in resume writing preparation. Just give me a moment. Let me stop. Yeah, so we'll be talking on and working on the topic, which is work on your resume and let your resume work for you. So I'm emphasizing this work on your resume because I feel only if you want to gain benefit from your resume, you should work on your resume, prepare it properly. And also, while you are preparing your resume, there is a lot of time you get to do the introspection regarding your career, your learning, and one very important factor is the employability. So there are many people who take career breaks. The common reasons are raising a child or taking care of the elders, and maybe the spouse is relocated to some other place and they have to settle in that place for a short time. So the breaks or the gaps do become evident and they become a necessity at times. The other reasons for career breaks can be travel, voluntary work, paid work abroad, studying or training, or staying update with the professional news, or even recovering from accidents or illness. So these are the few reasons, and they are very genuine reasons for taking a career break. I'll highlight some of the segments of this session. I'll be mostly telling you about the first section being A story of a job aspirant. Her name is Sally. Then I'll be telling you about a basic resume format. I had surveyed few hiring managers regarding career break, and so I've collated their viewpoints and opinions about job aspirants who take a career break. Eventually, I'll be telling you about resume preparation, taking a advertised job as an example. So let me take you to the story of Sally. So this was the story of Sally, who was a successful HR manager, and she took a break because of her family commitments. Like had her husband had relocated to a new place, and then she had a baby boy. Now she wants to rejoin the workforce. She wants to relaunch her career. So she has few challenges, like one is the facing the interview board, and the second one is preparing a good resume. See, the interview board is like they will ask about your abilities and competencies and your qualification, but the communication medium is again the resume, a document which is furnished in a way that it can present your eligibility in the best way possible. Now, to go further with the session, let me first take you through one of the basic resume template. This is for the people who might be, knowing about, not knowing much about resume writing, but they haven't had a short stint writing it. So let me first introduce you to the
Sorry, Shachi.
template.
Sorry, Shachi, to interrupt you. Please mute yourself, ladies, as it is not audible. It is getting a lot of disturbance. All of you, please, this is a humble request to mute yourself.
Yeah. So this is a basic resume template. This is available on Portal Jobs. I have modified a bit because I wanted to tailor it for people who are rejoining the workforce. So this template is available. You can note the changes which I have done to suit the target job. Now, to start with, I'll rush you through because these are few things which you might know earlier as well. There are only few things which are important from the perspective of a relauncher. So first is the contact header. It should be bold and big, and it should have your name and your past job title. Then is the address. We prefer not to put the complete address, just mention your city and the PIN code. Second is the mobile phone number. It should be your active phone number on which any employer or recruiter can contact you. Then is the email address. Email address should not be a fancy looking email or sounding email. try to have a new one. If you're not having one, it should sound professional. Next is the professional profile. It's mostly the summary of the whole of the career history you have had. And here we mention more in terms of the mapping we do for your experience and transferable skills. Even though you have had a career break, you should not be mentioning in this section. We have a different section for it. Next is the objective. So objective is something which we as a consultant do not suggest for any other job aspirant because it has become redundant. But in your case, especially the women who want to join after a career break, you need to have an objective mention in the resume. So you can start like this. For example, following a return to the job market, now looking to secure a challenging and rewarding new role. Mention the position. If you have the job description with you, job description means the target job advertisement with you. You can see that there is provided as to what the job requires from a candidate. So if you have the name of the position, please mention the name. I would also like to remind you, do not send the same resume to every other recruiter or employer. Please modify the resume as per the job requirement. Tailor it every time and relook it into it every time you hit the submit button. So next comes the professional experience. Here we will mention mostly about the roles, the duties that have been performed by the candidate in that particular job. In this section, you get a chance to map your expertise with the target job. It's uh, it is this place where we need not mention where you were employed or with whom you work, but we mention the professional experience. That's why I have used the word professional, because it is irrespective of the employment. It can also be any voluntary activity you have performed, if you have worked with any NGO or a body where you have not actually got paid for it, or a stint which you had taken in between. So you can mention all the experiences you have gained during that tenure, and it's irrespective of any employment. So this is the opportunity to showcase all your skills and expertise as per the target job. Next, the section is employment summary. It briefly states the employment you have had with the companies, the timeline, and the location. Please note, we have to mention the career break here, for what period you were on a career break, and what was the reason. So the reason has to be mentioned as well. If you do not mention the reason, it can be, ignored by the employer, that, okay, this is just a mention. So please mention the reason as well. It has a key, it's a key point in resume writing. And then is the job titles for your past employment. I'll be taking these in detail further when we will be talking about a particular job description and a resume. Then comes the section which is education, your scholastic, even your professional development. You can mention explicitly here what all extra, courses you have done during the break, or any other, training programs you have attended. All these can be mentioned here. If you have, attained a certificate or anything of that sort, please do not forget to mention here. Next comes the last part, which is the other details. Though it is a kind of a section which is miscellaneous, but it is very important in terms that you cannot write everything and anything out here. So here we can write about the proficiency you have gained in IT. If you are a tech-savvy person, and if you are a IT developer or related with IT, this section may not be important for you because you might have to enter the technical skills somewhere here. But if you are not an IT person, Don't forget to mention the section because you'll have to mention what is your proficiency level as far as the technical aspects of your job requirement are concerned. So here you can mention tools as well which are needed for your job, and if you are a computer literate, how much IT part you know. And even if you know only MS Office, please do not forget to mention here. Languages. If you are multilingual, feel free to add here your complete address. Now here where they authenticate your address. So please write it completely here. Your passport details, sometimes it is required in case one person wants to understand or know the citizenship of the candidate. Notice period. See, in your case, it will be immediate or mention as to how long you may take to join. Available to relocate. If you are trying to get a job somewhere in other location, please mention, yes, I'm available to relocate, or no, I'm not available to relocate. Include page numbers if your resume goes beyond one page. We prefer that the resume to be 2 pages. Whatever extent of experience you have, please limit yourself to 2 pages because the recruiters or employers might not be having the time to go through each and every point or all content of the resume. So 2 pages is the recommended length. So I have had this is taking some time to load. In the meanwhile, I'll show you one of the job advertisements. So this is a job advertisement. This was available on Naukri. So this is for the same person, Sally, who had been hiring an HR manager. Now she wants to restart her career. Okay, the power presentation is on. So now I'll show you some of the opinions I took from the hiring managers regarding what they think, how the candidates should be prepared after career break, and what their resume should include significantly in terms of the skills and the education or the upskilling efforts they have done. The two key contributors have been Nandini. She is an associate head HR MMSH Clinical Research Private Limited. Then is Seema Natraj. She is HR manager MScript Systems India Private Limited. So I actually had shared with them few questions for which they have responded. There are 4 questions. I'll quickly take you through the questions because it will help you to understand what are the key pointers for a resume. The first question was, what are the expectations from a candidate who have had a career break or gap in employment? The expectation as shared by Nandini is they should be at par with the technology or the role or the industry standard, and if they are not, they should have the capability to learn it as soon as possible. Seema has shared that the people who join after a career break have an upper hand because they are immediate joiners. There can be a delay for other candidates, but in case of people who join after career break, they can join immediately. So they hold an edge. The second question was, how can such candidates prove that they are at par with the current industry trends and are employable? So Nandini says they should show the initiative of improving in their learning curve or their willingness to learn while they were away from the corporate world. Seema says there should be an ongoing reading and learning process. People should attend online webinars, workshops, and conferences. And she has highlighted that put this in your CV as learnings or trainings attended. Third question is, what are the modifications or key pointers needed on a resume which can help a candidate project oneself as the most suitable candidate for the position? Now, I will say that there is again a fight when you are applying for a job, because you will be gauged alongside the people who have the experience. Nobody is going to give you an excuse that you were on a career break, so you cannot work at as with the same capacity or the ability. So the people who are joining after a career break, they should keep this in mind, that they have to compete with others, and they should be working on this while they are on break. So Nandini has pointed out that they should point out specifically on their CVs where there is a gap. So you have to accept the gap. That's the main thing. And Seema has written, employers should be excited to hire you when they see your resume. And you should be writing this fact that you can join immediately. Don't talk about your hobbies and interests. As a resume writer, I would suggest you hobbies and interests only which do not relate to your employment. Please do not write them, because they are not required. But if in case that you feel, if you are in a fashion industry and you have had a hobby where you kind of leverage on this hobby, feel free to mention it, because this is while you are on a career gap, you have to kind of collate all the topics or all the points which you can use as a strong point for you. Fourth question. Hope honestly accepting a gap in the career by a job aspirant is not considered a flaw from the employer's viewpoint. Nandini says, when no employee-friendly company will see it as a flaw when a woman honestly points out the reason for a break in her career. And the same thing is again emphasized with Seema. It can happen to anyone, and your hiring managers or recruiters are human too. So they will understand as long as you are being honest and professional. So these are the few questions, and after all the survey, I found that there are some common points which we can use for a resume preparation, that they can be utilizing the gap appropriately, attending courses, or continuing with the learning process. When you are ready to take a new job, you should show the willingness to learn and adapt to the new environment. Do mention the gap period. Do mention that you are available to join immediately or as soon as possible, and highlight the strengths. So these were the points which I used to prepare the resume for a career break aspirant. And I also used the common understanding which is there for people to, when they are applying for a job. Because every candidate is different and every candidate's resume is also different. So this job which I'm talking about was advertised on Naukri. I'm keeping the same storyline of Sally. She was an HR manager. Now she's applying for a senior manager HR role. So this is the job description she found on Naukri, and now she has to apply for it. So let's take it on Word and see. Whenever you see a job description, please try to highlight the keywords. Here, as we can see, it's written inputs to be given during the manpower planning exercise. Responsible for recruitment and selection, this is one keyword. Responsible for building, developing, and executing culture, this is another keyword. They should have managed at least 150 employees, this is another keyword. Responsible for capability building of manpower by effective implementation of training calendars. So that person should be involved in conducting trainings, building and implementing employee satisfaction survey, customer satisfaction survey. So these are some of the keywords which you can see are there in a job description. This is an exercise which should be carried out by every job aspirant. Not only people who are joining after a career break, but anybody who is, applying for a job. Please find the keywords, because sometimes your resumes are scanned by machines. So the machines only search the keywords. So if the keywords are there you go. Your application will be accepted. So now we will see how this particular resume was written for this particular job. There's one more thing I would like to tell you. Once you have the target job, you can prepare an eligibility matrix for you, because it may happen that whatever task or roles you have performed are not all suitable for the for that target job, or you're somewhere near. So even if you're 50% near or 60% near, try to map it as much as possible and showcase your skills, that going further you will be in a position to learn the new skills and attain the new technology or the new domain knowledge and be employable. So though both the things are there. You should be employable. One is that your eligibility should be there. And second is, if there is something new coming up, how keen or how available you are for learning those new skills or upskilling yourself. So this is a homework which you can do when you are applying for a job. Make a table, have two columns. One column has the job skills, where you have the skills or the keywords which you took from the job description. Then is your eligibility, like what all things you have done in in relevance to those particular job requirements. So it can be your relevant competencies, your relevant skills, your relevant experience. You can mention even relevant whenever you are writing a resume. So as I had highlighted few of the keywords, I have written it down: recruitment and selection. So Sally had performed hiring. So she wrote in front of recruitment and selection, she wrote performed hiring. Managed 150 employees, she had managed 3,000 employees. Built, developed, and executed culture. Now what she did was, she had communicated with at all levels. She used to work with the manager, senior manager, or the employees, and handle employee grievances. She did the orientation part, where she handholded the new employees to get them acquainted with the new culture. Another point which we have taken is HR policies, and she had conducted company-wide presentations regularly to promote all HR policies and resolve queries immediately. So this columns shows the job skills, the requirement of the job, and this column shows your eligibility or your competency for that particular job. So these are the few things which you have to do prior to preparing a resume. Now we will move to the resume of Sally, who is now willing to take a plunge into the workforce. As I told, you mentioned the name, your last designation, your phone number, mail ID, city, and PIN code. Next is the career summary. It should be short and sweet, not more than 4 or 5 lines. Mention what was the span of your career. What were the major things you did in that part? If you have had a very good high education, mention it. Don't forget to mention it. Then, as the job required, she has worked in several large-scale organizations. Now, this is a summary. So in a resume, we do not repeat facts. So here she has written several large-scale organizations. To prove it, she has shown in her experience that she has worked with Infosys, and she has actually worked with 3,000 employees. Uh, then I just want to show again that this was her career break. She had worked till 2013, and then she took a break for these many years, around 2.5 years, and then she wanted to join back. In fact, this is a real case. So she has again joined back the workforce, and she has started working in 2017. She is a senior HR manager now, so working with one of the companies. So this is what was the resume we had prepared along with her to showcase her skills and give her an edge over other aspirants. So coming back to the summary, this is how the summary is. If you know the tools, please mention the tools of your industry, because knowing the tools is an important aspect. Uh, Tools, technology are ever evolving. So whenever you get a chance, learn them. Even if you are not on a break, even if you're working, please keep upskilling yourself. That's a prime requirement for a job. Next comes the objective. Here we have explicitly mentioned object. See, this highlights you can remove. This I have highlighted only for the ease of you to understand. You can remove these highlights once the resume is done. Here I have mentioned the objective. Seeking a challenging position in a corporate of repute to employ the existing skills for further value addition and growth. You can mention the position if you are applying. You know the definite position, you can mention it. Utilize the career gap due to motherhood and travel abroad by venturing into new territories like education, content development, and freelance writing. Now she had, utilized the gap for freelance writing as well. She had utilized the gap for getting a certificate. She had utilized the gap to upskill herself. So this is described here. So you can see she had completed the course on Certified Recruitment Analyst by Kami, worked as an HR consultant for designing policies and processes with this company. She worked as a content developer and CV writer as a part-time work from home. So she being an HR manager, she had the capability to do all these things, and she utilized her capability well. Since she was raising her child, she also utilized her parenting skills. So she has also taken some study on abacus training, and she has worked with autistic children. So this is, I'm going to and fro from first page to second, because these are all interrelated content. The only thing is we have to ensure that whatever we are writing on top is explained later and it's not repeated. So the whole art is in writing, how well you write the thing. Now this section is a very useful section, though it can be used later. But here is where you mention all the keywords. You get a facility to mention all the keywords, even if the job or the role was only 5%. Let's say, for example, Sally was involved in appraisals and PIP only 5% of the time, or she has the knowledge of it. Even then, she can mention the keyword here. So you need not, elaborate on these, but you can mention all the keywords which we found in this job description. So whatever keywords we have highlighted here, we have used in the resume. Next comes the professional experience. As I said, this doesn't relate to all your employment. You could have done these activities as a part of any stint. It can be voluntary, it can be training, it can be team activities, it can be, even doing some household work where you have done some organization, and but still you have utilized your technical skills or your functional expertise. So the idea is to show that you are okay, I'm eligible for the job because I have worked on these things, and this doesn't always relate to my employment, but I have a knowledge or the skill or the hands-on experience of this. So here we mention like different heads. You can mention recruitment and onboarding, performance management. See, the thing is, I have highlighted the sentences which relate directly to the job description. To note, we do not always mention all the things in the first paragraph or in the first line. The flow should be logical. The idea is the flow should be logical. You cannot mention each and everything in the first line just because it is there in the job description. So tailoring doesn't mean it should look artificial. It should be you. It should be you and it should be natural. So write it in a way, the point should be there, and write it in a flow so that you have mentioned most of the things. So this is where she has, elaborated on all the expertise and the roles and the duties she has performed in full length. You can have a look. Starts with, the action verbs. You can mention past tense because when you will be applying, you would have had these experiences earlier. So you can use past tense. Past tense is safer because whenever you are applying for a new job, the earlier one becomes a history. So you can go ahead and use past tense. Use implied I. We do not use I, me in the resume. We always consider it as implied I. That means it's a first person. You are writing, but you should not be writing I in any of the sentences. Like I steered the process to ensure employees is not the way of writing. Um, the format is like this. I don't say it's wrong, but the current trend and the format is you should not use I. So this was professional experience. Now we come to the employment summary. This is again very short. It only mentions the employment, the timeline, and your key results or achievements. Now you're not going to mention the roles, duties here again. You only mention what have been the results and achievements. If you do not have the results or achievements, there's no need to mention at all because we do not again duplicate the things which we wrote earlier. So as she has won 2 spot awards, developed and designed several policies, I mean, she has worked to that level, so she has written all this stuff. The other thing to note here is we always talk about the last 10 years of our, active work history. So it's like if all the preceding assignments have to go either as preceding assignments or past assignments. So these things, like if you have any accomplishment or results or achievements which can actually have an impact on your target job, do mention it. You can add here, just add here that these were the key results. Don't forget because it relates to your target job. If it doesn't relate to your target job, you can remove it. Usually, the last 10 years are the most active part which our employee has. So that has an impact on the target employment or with the next stint. Then is the educational details. As I mentioned, you can mention your professional development experiences also here, your certifications here, the training programs you have attended in this a particular head, or you can write a separate head as trainings attended. But again, do not mention the trainings which you took some 10 years back or which is not at all relevant with your target job. So everything, every detail which is included in the resume is all what relates to your target job. You can have a hell lot of experience and good lot of education and training programs provided that corporate structure has a lot of space for training. Please don't be tempted to mention each and every training, and because one is the resume length increases, the second is it becomes irrelevant. So when you are writing something, it's a document which showcases your ability to document as well. So document it precisely, it should be crisp and to the point. The last section is personal details. As I said earlier, these are the things you can write in personal details. Just let me check if there are any questions. Ruchi is asking summary or objective. Both should be there in the resume. Yes, summary and objective both should be. Objective is a statement. Summary is a paragraph. So as I showed you, you can either write it in this way with the summary above and objective below, And if you are having a shortage of space and you want to, write it differently, you can mention it like this. Hope that answers your question. Can you publish a snapshot of the resume template on JFH? Sure, I'll publish it. Modified it. I have modified it a bit. Then the next question is website. Or can it be put again during this PPT? Will take pics for future reference. I guess this session is getting recorded, so you can keep it for future reference.
I
The
have a
video,
question.
yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Like I am a technical person. I have been a software developer.
Okay.
Okay. I used to work on something called C programming and C++ programming, which doesn't have much opportunities now. Not like zero. Okay, less. Then 1.5 years back, I started reskilling with Android. Actually, my
Okay.
break is not because of marriage or child. I was going through some personal issues and my health had taken a toll. And my break is almost close to 8 years now. I don't know if I write 8 years, let's say 8 years, although it was not like I wasn't doing anything. Just seeing that I'm scared, they might not even scroll down. Another
No
thing
problem.
is,
Yeah. Please continue. Yeah. Tell me.
yeah, I wasn't able to step out of my home. I told health issues, right? Health issues was the main reason because of which I did not go out of the house, especially first 3 years after the break. Okay, and during this time, I got a work from home job, which was an editing job.
Okay.
It was an editing job. After 3 years, I thought I can apply, and I left that job, and it was not a good experience. For more than a year, I searched for jobs. Not a single call I got, even for just 3 years experience, 3 years gap. I don't know what made me think, but still I started with Android development. At least a few calls I have got, but all the whatever few calls I have, except for one giant company which they called knowingly. I don't know if they even noticed my gap. I never mentioned it on purpose. And what has happened is like only 2 calls I have got. That was for mass recruitment drives. I think they did not look at my resume properly. So I see, first thing is, in a technical thing, I don't know how many of these I can follow, but your like eligibility matrix made a lot of sense to me. But now
See,
let's say I started, yeah.
finish.
Yeah,
Tell.
professional objective. When it comes to professional objective, I'm actually very flexible with doing anything in development. Be it right now I'm doing Java, but I'm willing for Python, and there are some new programming languages, especially in startups. So what is this when in a professional objective, a lot of people, there is a confusing opinion about professional objective. Either they say you don't write at all, but you have already made it clear that in our case we need it. But when it says professional objective, can I say I'm willing to work on any language?
Yeah. See, the thing is, I'll tell you one thing. Even I was a software developer, and earlier, and I took a deliberate break when my first child was born. So it was a break, which was, again, I said it was deliberate, and I had no repentance for it because I wanted to take care of my child. Now, regarding the technology trends, see, there is no problem in joining back. It's a good, uh, I should say it is an optimistic behavior that you want to join back. See, for women, in the self-independence is an important thing, and they need to be at least doing something to keep themselves occupied, and if possible, earning. So see, if you say 8 years of gap, I don't think so that's a problem. Maybe you restart will take some time, I'll just give you an example of mine. When I restarted, the few things which you have to note is, one is networking. You should network a lot with the people you know or who are there in the professional domain. So this, in my case, one of my friends was working in Oracle, and she kind of shared this job detail with me that you can apply for this job. Now I went for the interview, though I was not very much prepared. But as far as coding, since you are a technical person, so I'm just sharing with you. As far as the coding part and upskilling was concerned, I was keeping myself occupied in that. So there are various portals where you can code and share your code, and that can be made public, or also you can blog so that your codes are available to others. These are few things which you can do to showcase that you are already either contributing to the software tool scenario, or you are anyways learning. So that's a part. But the thing is, your start may be slow. You might not get a call from a big giant immediately, asking for your candidature. You can start slow. You can start with contract to hire also, and with temporary jobs also, but start working. If you want to restart your career, the first thing is you have to start working. Whatever opportunity you get, it can be small or big, take it up. And mentioning about your gap is not a problem. See, even if you don't mention the gap, then is a problem, because whenever you get an employment with a certain company, they do a background verification. And if there is any problem where they find that you are trying to hide something, see, hiding, telling a lie has its own consequences. So it's better you always be truthful, because it helps you in many ways, and you need not explain your lie everywhere. You don't need to explain your lie. So
No, it's not. I mean, just I'm not mentioning because I might not even land up an interview. In the interview, I will always
no,
tell.
no,
I
no.
can't.
That's what I'm saying. That yeah, I will like to share a conversation I was having with one of the hiring managers. She's in Tesco. She was telling me that it's only the recruiters who have a problem with, taking up candidates who have had a gap. So there is a way to reach to get an employment. So she was mentioning jobs for her in this case, because there are so many applicants who have registered in jobs for her, and they get a call from the companies, because they're not like recruiters who are just closing an opening. They consider people who have had a gap, and as far as employers are concerned, they have no issues at all. So don't worry, they will always take you if you are well versed in the technology. See, you want to foray into Android development, it's very good. And there's a lot of requirements coming up. You can also do some internship. There are many companies which provide internship programs where you can join and showcase that, okay, see, I'm good enough to do this. So
Shachi,
once you have shown, yeah,
Shachi, thank you so much for this questions. I think we need to go to the other questions also, because there are a lot of questions are coming,
yeah,
so we can answer those
Okay.
quickly.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope the
Thank
Shachi's
you.
answer has satisfied the audience. So whoever can relate better, it's good, and then we can move to the next questions.
Yeah. So I think, what if one has not attended any seminar or done something? Actually, this is rolling. So one second. So if somebody has not attended any seminar or done something professional during career gap, you should be, the question which can be asked by you, do you remember all the things? Or are you abreast with the technology? If you're not attended any seminar or done anything of that sort, please ensure that you are reading. You are reading on your own, you have all the books with you, and if there is a question, you are, able to answer it. So if you answer it, you know everything, you are proficient, why not you? Anybody can, hire you. Is there an acceptable career break limit? In India, for now, there is no such limit as at all. People take you whenever you want to join. As I told earlier, it can be slow, but you can join. And you can later on, you can pick up and build a good career. I have been a banker, left in 2014 break after maternity, but now I'm finding it tough to continue in banking, and as in every recruiter in banking says your child is small, we are not comfortable with a person who has so many liabilities. What should I do? So this is what you have to assure your employer. This is quite scary for many employers, because when you are explaining the gap, they may ask you whether now are you prepared or not, because they cannot they can live with your gap, but they cannot live with your limitations. So like I was asked this question, whether your kid can be taken care of now. So I told them, see, I can join only after 1 month. Let me have one caretaker first. So I got one caretaker on board, and when I was assured that now my kid can be taken off, I told them now I can, contribute in a committed way. So I joined back, and they were also assured, okay, this lady is now, available to work as a committed employee. I worked with a small company as HR manager, but due to some issues with company co-wind up, I have not mentioned this in my CV. It was only a 6 months experience. If you have the, if you are ready to accept the gap, then you don't mention it. But if you, there are many companies which will ask you for a relieving letter. So if you have the, appointment and the relieving letter, please mention it. You said it's important for a woman to be occupied and hopefully earn too. What if we do not want to go back to where you left, and how to look for opportunities? Actually, I'm not getting what the question is. What you do not want to go back to where you left, and how you
Can
can do something different. You can do something different. Why do, it doesn't mean that if you were working as an employee or working for something on a certain businesses, now you do not want to continue with that business, you can start with some other thing. Many people from finance go for corporate training, you go for teaching line, they can change the line itself. So that's
So
all up to you.
how should the resume format be? Because if your experience is completely as a technical consultant, I worked as a technical consultant, and my experience has been into software development per se. But now, all these years during my career gap, I have been more focused with training and teaching. I've also worked in NGO as a teacher. And if I want to go back into the industry, like you said, it is important for me to keep myself occupied. So that is one of the reasons why I want to get back into workforce. And also, yes. So if I want to go back, I don't want to see myself in the place starting from where I have left, which is as a technical consultant. I would like to go back into training. So how should my resume format be? What should be the
Yes.
point that I highlight?
Yeah, so see, for a trainer, one is you need the knowledge, the second is the ability to train. So your prior experience was as a technical consultant, so obviously a consultant, so obviously you have the knowledge or the expertise. Your current experience showcases your ability to train. So when, so these two things amalgamated can make you a good trainer for your, subject matter. So when you are writing a resume, that's how. That's why I kept the professional experience first. So in the professional experience, you can mention more about the knowledge and the training ability rather than your, duties which you performed while you were working as a technical consultant earlier. I mean, whatever job you had earlier.
Okay.
And the objective, see, objective and the cover letter plays a key role. The objective sends the message, the cover letter also sends the same message, that now I'm looking forward to a job in training. So this is where you provide the turn, or the, the twist comes where you want to you change the gears, you are shifting careers. Next
Okay,
question
just
is,
one question along the, just one question along the same lines. What if I've not done something formally in that new direction? Like, for example, if I were to be interested in either in content writing or data analytics, or even training for that matter. I've done global project management before, and it has encompassed bits and pieces of all of this, like business analysis or communication, and I've attended a ton of trainings, but never like trained anybody. But I think I can, because I have good communication skills and all of that. But the thing is, I haven't done anything formal in that direction. So how do you showcase your resume in that case, where it's an interest and you know innately somewhere that you have the ability, but you don't have a real experience to show for it? I mean, you have experience to completely. project
Yeah, so the
management?
experience doesn't mean that you should be having a work experience with an employer. So let's say if you want to delve into uh, what is your interest? I just forgot. Please repeat.
If it is content management, content writing, or if it's training, or even data analysis to some extent. Mainly because I've done global project management, it has encompassed bits and pieces of it at some points in time. But project management over this point would be too vast for me after a break. I mean, with all my current family considerations and all of
So
that,
you
it's
want
not
to
something.
move into. So what do you want to do? You want currently what do you want to do?
Either content writing, training, or even data analysis. I'm okay to like train on something, like do a 2-month training course, but I don't have a real experience to show for it.
See, the thing is, you have the time, you mean it's always there with you, in front of you. As far as the writing is concerned, you can start blogging. You can have your own blog, or you can be a guest blogger. So there you can get a avenue to write, and later on you can share it on your resume that this is your blog. If you are wanting, if you want to become a trainer, take some, record some audios or videos, share it on YouTube, get some followers, get some views. If you are a really good trainer, a lot of people will like you, and that like itself showcases your eligibility to become a trainer. These are few things which you can do on your own. That doesn't mean that you have to be employed with somebody. Okay, now next question is, thank you. As I have 6.0 in finance, I have not mentioned this in this HR experience for opening and finance. Should I write this experience or not? I mean, I didn't get it. What are you trying for? Is it for the finance sector or for the HR sector? I'm not getting this question.
Shachi and participant, thank you so much. As we are reaching to the time limit, I hope you enjoyed the session, and you can ask your queries and pass it on to me. And I can forward it to the Shachi, or if Shachi is like okay to share her email ID with you all, that Shachi can share that to that. And I want to share one more slide. There is a surprise for the participants from the JFH side. So I'm just sharing my screen. This is the one, ladies. Thank you for being here, for your courage, and for rewriting your CV. Can you see my screen, all of you?
No.
I'll just share one.
Smita, this mentorship roadshow program, it's on May 6th. So people who are interested to talk with me on a personal level in Noida, I'm available in Noida on May 6th. So you can also talk to me and share your queries there.
Yeah. So along with this webinar, we are trying to do a road mentorship program too for all of you, where you can meet these mentors face to face and ask their queries. And she is going to representing Noida on 6th of May. So who are from Delhi NCR, they can meet her in person and ask your query, clear your doubts, and she can guide you the best way she can do. And apart from this, can you see my screen?
No.
That's what now the next campaign is all about. We are talking about. So you can send your photo by clearing and destroying your old CV and constructing them in a new way, the way Shachi has suggested you. That's what we are going. This is the kind of image we are talking about. And you can write a small quote also. What it says here: I'm on a career break since 2015 to provide an engaging home environment to my teenage children all over.
I'm sorry, we're not able to see you.
You are not able to see my screen?
No, the only thing that's coming up is webinar on resume writing with Shachi Pathak.
Okay.
The May 6th thing just briefly flashed, but then it hasn't come up again.
I'm just reading out to all of you. What I'm trying to say is, we have a surprise for all of you. Jobs for Her is starting a new resume campaign for one of the it's a secret surprise, a secret message. So we cannot disclose it right now. So it's just a kind of surprise which will be pouring to you in a couple of weeks time. So, and you will be getting an early bird participant message. So what you need to do is you send a photograph of yourself tearing or destroying your old CV, and also let us know how you will include your break in your new CV. And you can mail it to me at divya@jobsforher.com. And for example, you can just write, I'm on a career break since 2015 to provide an engaging home environment to my teenage children or a toddler. Then you can construct.
Ladies, if you're curious as to why we do this, every time Jobs for Her goes to a company and we tell them about our restarters, they tell us that people don't talk about their breaks in their CV. So there's a gap, right? So you've started working, you've taken your break, and you forget to include it because you feel that the employer will be biased against you, there'll be judgment. So now every company we go to, we tell them, you'll know a Jobs for Her restarter because she will talk about her break. She will talk about her break in her CV. She will talk about her break at the interview. Because when you come off the break, you'll actually come off with real skills, right? That is what the campaign is about. So what we're asking is that you've got your old CV lying around, tear it, destroy it, burn it, whatever you want, just get it on camera. Take a photo of that and send it to us. And then send us 3 lines about how you're going to talk about your career break in your CV. Formal language, what you've learned on the webinar, what it says, right? So the language is formal, the language is official, but your career break is visible, it's spoken about. Send your photos in, send your texts in, send it to Divya with this. We'll send you the email at the end of this. And then we'll tell you who the secret big 4 person is.
Yeah, got it? All charged up to tearing your old CV? Yeah, ladies, no responses or what?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shachi. Thank you, Jobs for Her team.
Thank you all. Thank you for participating. Wishing you all a very good future in all endeavors you do. You should be successful. Don't worry about the gaps. You can prove your mettle anytime.
So now we will be sharing the video with all of you after this webinar. And we will share the email ID also where you will send your photo by tearing your old CV and along with a line. An example of the photo also, what we are looking for. And then you can write up a small 3 lines quote to us also how you will showcase your career break in your CV. Yeah, see you next week in the next webinar, which is on 18th April. We will post that event also, then you can register yourself. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Smita. Thank you, Divya.
Thank you so much.